Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I would like to call the regular meetings of the Public Finance Authority, Water Utility Authority, Housing Successor Agency, and City Council to order. City Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Martin. Here. Councilmember Mora.
Here.
Councilmember Sarno. For the record, I'd just like to announce that he mentioned he'll be a few minutes late. Mayor Pro Tem Zamora,
Here.
Mayor Rodriguez,
Here.
and members of the Public Financing Authority and Water Utility Authority receive $150 for their attendance at these meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to call upon council member. Okay, I would like to call upon council member Trujillo, Martin, to give the invocation.
Please stand. Please bow your heads. Our Heavenly Father, we give thanks tonight for the privilege of meeting together to deliberate on matters affecting our city. We ask for your guidance in our efforts to work for your betterment of our community. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. I would like to call upon Sydney Garcia and Lyrica Seabrooks from Jersey Elementary School to lead in the Pledge of Allegiance.
We will be doing the flag salute. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Could you please stand up here, state your names and the schools you go to, what hobbies and athletics that you're in?
And your title, please.
My name is Sydney Garcia. I attend Jersey Elementary School, and my hobbies are to mostly talk with my friends.
Hi, I'm Lyrica Seabrooks. I go to Jersey Elementary, and my hobbies are playing video games with my friends.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Would you like to come up and take a picture with us? Come on up. Come on in, yes, of course.
I'm just a photographer. I'm sorry?
Superintendent.
Thank you so much. And now I would like to move presentations to the beginning of the agenda as to not keep our guests waiting till the end of the meeting. So presentations, introduction of new finance and administrative services employee, Administrative Assistant 1, Laura Valenzuela. I would like to call on the Director of Finance and Administrative Services, Travis Hickey.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to call on Lana Deach, our finance manager, to make the introduction of our employee. And while she makes her way up, I know she won't mention it, but I just wanted to point out, I know the council's very supportive of the community's veterans. Both Lana's husband is active duty military in the Navy. Laura's husband is a naval reservist. And so just wanted to point that out.
Thank you, Travis. Is it on? Is it on?
Yes.
Yeah. Good evening, Madam Mayors and council members. I would like to introduce you to our Administrative Assistant 1, Laura Valenzuela. Hope I say that right. Laura started very first job right after graduating from high school as a summer intern at GVNC of the city of Santa Fe Springs. She also worked at Macy and Metrolink's finance department before joining the city of Santa Fe Springs in 2018. Laura has been a dedicated staff, and she was here daily during the pandemics to cover the counter and switchboard as a finance officer. During April of this year, she was promoted to her new positions as Administrative Assistant 1. Laura and her husband had two beautiful children. Lucas is 11 and Gianna is 8. They are a long-time resident of the city of Santa Fe Springs. And just like any other parents, her hobby is to raise the kids and watch them grow. Laura, congratulations. Do you have anything you'd like to share?
Hello, all. I'm Laura, if you heard. I'm grateful for the opportunity and I look forward to working with all of you in the future. So thank you.
Thank you.
And Laura, do you want to introduce your family, please?
This is Lucas. He's 11. Gianna is 8. Both of them attend St. Greg's in Whittier. My husband Gil is a reservist in the Navy, and he also works for JB Hunt. So I've seen Jay at Metro. We spent a lot of time at Metro. So with this one.
Did you want to come up and take a picture? Would you like to? We'd be honored.
Hi, kids. Hi, how are you?
They could take a pic if you want to with your phone. Yeah, no, you'll take it. You didn't think you were going to do it, did you? Huh?
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, moving on to 4B, proclamation proclaiming October 5th, 2022 as Walk to School Day in Santa Fe Springs. I would like to call on the city clerk to read the proclamation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas lack of physical activity plays a leading role in rising rates of obesity, diabetes, and other health problems among children. And whereas an important role for parents, caregivers, and educators is to teach children about pedestrian safety. And now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Santa Fe Springs hereby proclaim October 5th, 2022 as Walk to School Day. Thank you.
And if I could call upon Superintendent Dr. Crean of Little Lake City and Dr. Gideon of Los Nietos School Districts to accept the proclamation. All right, moving along, I would like to, it's 4C, LA Cata proclaiming September as National Recovery Month in Santa Fe Springs and acknowledging LA Cata's 50th anniversary. I would like to call on the LA Cata to come up and get their proclamation. And first, I would like to call on the city clerk to read the proclamation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas alcohol and drug abuse is a significant threat to the well-being of children, youth, and adults in the city of Santa Fe Springs. Whereas community prevention, education, and awareness is a leading strategy for raising awareness of the issue of substance abuse and related behavioral health issues. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Santa Fe Springs proclaims September as National Recovery Month 2022. Thank you.
And now I would like to call upon LA Cata staff to accept the proclamation. Yes, okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Madam Mayor.
Also, our Executive Director, Juan Navarro, would like to say a few words.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Board Member Annette Rodriguez. We're honored to be here tonight. We appreciate the City of Santa Fe Springs' support. We have been in the city since the beginning of the agency back in 1971. The organization was created really to help our community, especially the young men that were coming back from the Vietnam War, struggling with addiction. And our founding board members, Dr. and Mrs. Allen, were involved with the organization up until their death. He passed away a year ago and she passed away 2 years ago, 3 now. And our organization has been from the beginning with the mission of helping the community. And Santa Fe Springs has been our home for many years. We have multiple programs in Santa Fe Springs. We have outpatient, residential. We're able to house individuals that are struggling with addiction. And we can't be happier than to call Santa Fe Springs our home. We'd like to thank the City Council for your continued support of the work that we do. It means a lot to us, and thank you.
Juan, I have another certificate up here. I'd like you to come and get it. It just landed right here on my desk right here. So this is for your 50th anniversary.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to thank you for everything that LA Cata does for our community. When I needed help with my son that had addictions, they were here and they helped with all anybody that needs help, you call and you get the service that you need. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart because it really did help when we needed it. Thank you. And now I'd like to move to Department of Fire Rescue presentations of a new Santa Fe Springs Fire Rescue Vehicle Engine 84. I would like to call upon Fire Chief Brent Hayward.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council, and everybody in attendance tonight. It's nice to see everybody here. Hopefully you had a chance to take a look at our new piece of apparatus outside. 2 weeks ago, we introduced new truck 811. This thing's not quite as big, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. On November 12th, 2020, the City Council authorized the purchase of a Pierce Arrow XT fire engine from South Coast Equipment Incorporated. The design and construction process is time consuming and included department members and municipal services mechanics that comprise the apparatus committee, who are deeply involved in the process that involves hundreds of specifications and tailoring to the design of the apparatus for the special needs of the department and the city. The new engine 84 was placed into service on September 15th at 8:30 a.m. with the fire department tradition of placing it into service, which I'll talk a little bit more about during my department head meeting or report. The new engine was also designed with a clean cab feature, which helps reduce the potential exposures of firefighters to toxic and carcinogenic contaminants that are common in almost all firefighting operations now. Job-related exposure and cancer is the leading cause of death amongst firefighters. So this design was important and now becoming a trend in the fire service. Storage compartments for each firefighter's turnout coat, pants, and boots, as well as self-contained breathing apparatus, or better known as SCBA, are provided so that the potentially contaminated equipment will not be brought into the passenger area of the vehicle. It's usually taken back after every larger incident and washed and decontaminated. Additional equipment on the engine includes a fire pump rated at 1,500 gallons per minute, 500-gallon water tank, fire hose and nozzles, obviously, 2 ground ladders of various lengths, a ventilation fan and related equipment for rescuing victims trapped in vehicles, gasoline powered rotary saw, battery powered ventilation fan, and an assortment of ropes and related hardware for low angle rope rescue. Fire rescue spent, oh, I'm sorry, can I get the slide? I'm just talking away here. There she is. Fire rescue personnel spent the week of September 5th training on the operation of the new engine, which assumed the identifier Engine 84 from its predecessor. Engine 84 will be assigned to Santa Fe Springs Fire Station 4 on Telegraph right next door here at City Hall. The 2022 Pierce fire engine is a welcome new piece of equipment to the city and department and will serve to protect the public for many years to come. Service life of a vehicle of this type is approximately 12 years and an additional 5 years of reserve life. It's a large investment and we really appreciate it. Thank you again to our city council and you, the public, for making this apparatus available to protect the community and our own. Thank you very much. It's parked out front. If you didn't see it on your way in, we have personnel here who would be more than happy to show it to you. Much like truck 811 last week, the darker it gets, they turn the lights on and things absolutely beautiful.
All right, thank you. And so now we are moving to public comments. Public comments are now open. Anyone joining us through Zoom can use the raise hand function if you wish to make a public comment on any item on the agenda or not on the agenda. The city clerk will see if you have raised your hand through the Zoom application. For those that are here to make a public comment in person, you will have an opportunity once the city clerk announces your name. You will have 3 minutes to speak. City clerk, do we have any members of the public that wish to speak today?
Madam Mayor, we have 8. The first one is Tim Nally.
Thank you, Tim.
Good evening, Council. My name is Tim Nally, live at 10907 Alarco Drive, Whittier. I'm here to speak about Greenleaf. Got a couple of manholes that are all beat up around the outer side. I could go trucking companies have flipped those things a couple times. And up by Swartman's Way, the crosswalk needs to be restriped. And a couple potholes, one out in front of the Stadium Way as you're driving back to the stadium, and one each coming out of the student parking lot, one going in, one going out. They're like, okay, thought it'd be taken care of when I was down there a couple weeks ago, but no one touched it. Thanks.
Madam Mayor, next we have Edward Cadena.
Thank you, Edward.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council. I'm pretty confident, there's no doubt you know why I'm here this evening. It really pertains to the street, Maidstone Avenue, which is on the agenda tonight. I did this the last time I came and addressed the council, and I'm going to do it again. I'm going to ask that, hey, if you live on the street of Santa Fe Springs, either raise your hand or stand up. There's an overwhelming amount of people tonight who are here for this very topic that has been drug out for many years. And I want to thank you personally for those of you who have gotten involved in this more deeper. You know who you are. I appreciate your diligence. I appreciate everything that you have done to really take the matter at hand. I don't know if anyone's going to come up here tonight and speak against this, but I would encourage you that if the individuals that are here representing Maidstone that have raised their hand, you remember their faces. If anyone else comes up here and speaks against this, and you don't live on Maidstone, it is my opinion that you're going based off of feeling. The fact of the matter is there's a great deal of facts that are really pitted against us living on this street, specifically to those that have lived on that street longer than I've been alive. It is not an issue that is just surface. And it is something that has been brought before the city prior to us even coming to this council earlier this year. And something was done about it. So my ask of you tonight is not to go based off of feelings, but to really put the facts in front of you, and as a council come together and make a decision that makes sense for the residents who live on this street. There's no reason, as I addressed you in the email that I sent to you earlier this year, to kick the can down the road on this anymore. If you can tell me something that would indicate to myself, my fellow residents that are here tonight, that would get us to believe why this can't get done, we're all ears. But I think you've heard a great deal of what we've told you. And this is a 6-month-long project that we started in April this year and really put it before you guys. So my prayer is that you won't go off of any discourse, any political position, or anything that would dissuade you from making a decision that's right for the residents, that's based on facts and facts alone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, next we have Isabel Cervantes.
Good evening. My name is Isabel Cervantes and I reside at 10807 Maidstone Avenue in Santa Fe Springs. I come before your council tonight in support of the recommendation as noted on agenda item number 12, which relates to the removal of Parkway pine trees on Maidstone Avenue. I have also provided your council with a written formal request for the removal of the trees on Maidstone Avenue, signed by myself, fellow residents of Maidstone Avenue, and neighbors on adjoining streets who are also negatively affected and frustrated with the issues related to the pine trees on Maidstone Avenue. Over the past several months, I have witnessed debate among council members on concerns associated with the cost and policies related to removing the pine trees on Maidstone Avenue. But tonight I focus on the July 5th council meeting and specifically to Councilman Sarno's comments on the pine tree issue. Per the minutes of the meeting, Councilman Sarno noted, quote, "To address the pine tree issues are more of a bigger picture and suggested to rewrite the policy or allow other residents to have their trees to be removed, unquote. He further suggested, quote, other residents will complain about not having their trees approved having the request approved to remove trees, unquote. Knowing full well the item was specific to the long sought removal of 27 pine trees on Maidstone Avenue, I took offense to Councilman Sarno's efforts to confuse the issue by including any and all future requests for city residents for tree removal. Councilman Sarno's comments were even more insincere given the fact that he voted to approve the 2016 Parkway Street Rehabilitation Project, which also included the removal of pine trees that caused damage to the roadway surface and created major issues with drainage by uplifting curbs and gutters. And I guess the $826,000 price tag for the Parkway project did not stop him from approving that project either. If my comments seem to be focused solely on Councilman Sarno, you would be correct. As most in this room know, Councilman Sarno is not up for election this November. By good fortune of the election cycle, should Councilman Sarno wish to seek re-election to the city council, his name will not appear on the ballot for another 2 years. For all intent and purpose, Councilman Sarno's actions tonight on Maidstone Avenue pine tree issue stands to have minimal effect on his council seat this November. Not so for current council members seeking re-election on November 8th. At this point in his tenure, Councilman Sarno can afford to take a chance by voting against the item, and later on deal with the ensuing disappointment of my fellow neighbors here tonight.
I'm going to let you continue since this is a long-going item and I want to hear what you have to say.
After all, 2 years is a good stretch of time. He can hope for short memories among the residents here tonight. He can also rely on or turn to the support from fellow council members he has endorsed for this November's election. And even if the current council members lose their re-election bid, Councilman Sarno still has 2 years to take advantage of building new alliances or coalitions with the revamped makeup of the city council. Now, I also want to remind my fellow residents that up and down the state of California, the majority of business handled by our elected officials at the local level usually takes place on Tuesdays in meeting rooms just like this. Also, with the majority of the municipalities like the city of Santa Fe Springs, it only takes three of 5 votes to get anything passed or adopted. Just think, it only takes 3 council members' votes to fire our city manager, or for that matter, any one of our city department heads. While this can be pretty scary for the at-will city employees who serve at the pleasure of the council, it can be even more frightening for our city residents when just one council member is allowed or to take dominance over fellow council colleagues to exert a personal agenda that ignores or dismisses the will of us, the residents. Just think about that for a minute. Just one individual, a self-serving and thoughtless council member, if allowed, can be extremely unfavorable to any item.
I'm sorry, Madam Speaker, I apologize for having to interrupt you, but if you could keep your comments to the actual agenda item, that would be appreciated.
Okay, should items number 12 not pass tonight, I respectfully ask the date to be given when the final resolution will be achieved. There remains sufficient time before the November election for my fellow neighbors and I to create our own coalition with fellow residents to ensure those we vote this November will put the needs of the Santa Fe Springs residents first. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, next we have Fred Bastida.
Hi, Fred.
Hi, my name is Fred Basina. I'm a longtime resident of Santa Fe Springs. I'm a retired Army Sergeant Major of 30 years. What I have to say is about one of the members of the city council who came by our street on Bradwell Avenue and lambasted my daughter. I never heard of such a behavior before. To do such a thing is really reprehensible and unacceptable. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, next we have Stella Bastina.
Hello, I'm Stella Bastina, and that was my dad. I'm very proud of his service to this country. And what I have to say is conduct of members, the professional and personal conduct of members while exercising their office must be above reproach and avoid even the appearance of impropriety. Members shall refrain from abusive conduct, personal charges, or verbal attacks upon the character or motives of other members of council, boards, committees, and commissions, the staff, and the public. And I am the public. I am the resident that our Madam Mayor chose to pull up to my house outside at 7 o'clock in the morning and accuse me of taking one of her campaign signs from a neighbor. That is called trespassing. I do not go and take signs from any neighbor's property. So as each of you who are running for re-election, how many of you have heard of this behavior? And especially from the sitting mayor of this city, to have such conduct towards any resident is unacceptable. And harassing, voter intimidation, that is not acceptable. We are residents of this city and we expect higher standards and behavior from our council who we vote. So how is this going to continue? Because I assure you, I have already complained to the FPPC over this matter, and I assure that it will be addressed. And if this behavior continues, I will be back here speaking again. If it continues, then I will have to take further action. And it needs to stop now, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, next we have Marcos Garcia.
Hi, Marcos.
Good evening. My name is Marcos Garcia, as mentioned. I'm here just to echo the words and the concerns I have in reference to the ethical practices going on within our city officials. Let me remind everyone, they are elected. They work for us. We don't work for them. That's a serious problem I have. That some of these officials here will go around and promise things. So my only question I have this evening is, you are promising a major construction redeveloping in the street Santa Fe Springs, and those funds are being filtered through. Can you answer my questions through, I don't know. I'm under the impression that, is the city going to cover those fees? Who's going to cover those fees? That's a question. No one can answer? We don't have an answer for that?
It's public comments. You can talk.
Okay, thank you. Maybe you and I can talk after and have a meeting, and then you can answer my questions. We're promising our residents too much, in my opinion. I am completely for the redevelopment of that area. I want you to know that. I have a serious problem in front of my house, but I didn't personally go to any city official and ask for a favor. And I know all of you. I didn't ask for favors. I didn't pick up my phone and called you. In front of my house, I've lived there for over 25 years now. The tree in front of my house has caused injury to my children twice. And you didn't hear me call you. The tree in front of my house sheds year round. Who picks that up? I do. I didn't call any city official to do that for me. We need to stop playing politics. And us residents need to remind each other they work for us. We elected them. They need us more than we need them. And let's hold them accountable. Calling people by name, it's unacceptable. They all hold titles in our community. And I echo your words. It takes three, not two, three, to vote things into this platform. And let me conclude with this. We mentioned by name a street that was redeveloped. Back in 2011, 10, and I resided here, city official that's sitting there now had their whole street redone. That whole street was redone. Why don't we name him by name? Why don't we address him by name? Again, that's politics. And quite frankly, it's unacceptable. We need to rise up to the occasion and treat each other with respect. I don't think any of you any different. I consider all of you my friends.
If you'd like, go ahead. Yes.
I consider all of you my friends. And rest assured, as I conclude, I will hold you accountable. I don't need no favors. I don't need anything from any of you. I own my own home. I own my own business. I'm not going to call you and ask you for a favor. All I expect from each one of you is to do for all equally. Serve all of us equally. This is election year, and I know why you're doing it. It's politically driven. You need votes. That's it. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, next we have Lee Squire.
I just want to remind speakers that comments should be addressed to the council and not to members of the audience.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My comments are similar to the ones I just made at the Downey City Council meeting. Lee Squire, Downey resident, Vietnam era veteran, United States Army, retired Brea finance employee, auditor, fraud examiner. Subject, Central Basin Municipal Water District General Manager Alex Rojas indicted for money laundering, bribery, embezzlement, 1090 violations, and perjury. I'm thoroughly familiar with those charges. Central Basin Board President Chacon is refusing to remove fraudster Alex Rojas. And I'm asking this city council, just like I'm asking down in other cities, for a letter to the LADA's office requesting via the civil grand jury for an investigation into all of their finances, especially into a January 2022 standby charge refunding revenue bonds, which are funded by our taxpayers' money, literally from our tax bills. Letter to the board president Chacon to immediately remove that fraudster general manager Alex Rojas. City councils have what are called a fiduciary duty to its voters to protect the public's money from fraud, waste, and abuse. I'm asking you no different than I just asked the Downey City Council. God bless America. God bless the nation of Israel, our military and our veterans, and our local policing. Here's a copy of the Alex Rojas indictment and my presentation. Thank you.
Mayor. Next, we have Dr. Linda Vallejo.
Hello.
City Council, staff, and supporting community people. My name is Linda Vallejo. I have been a resident of Santa Fe Springs for over 65 years. And I'm here to follow up on an email message. So it's an in-person follow-up that I sent to the council and city on September 15th. And it starts with "Good morning, Janet," because it was addressed to Janet and the city council. And I was writing to thank the city for granting permission for the Red Cross and the purposes of holding a blood drive, which I was a participant in at the City of Santa Fe Springs Town Center Hall. I hope I'm not out of order, but I'm requesting that the city sent a thank you letter to Starbucks located on Carmenita and Telegraph, thanking them for their participation in supporting the event and providing free Starbucks coffee or tea to those that donated. Although the blood drive is not sponsored by the city, it is a nationwide activity that took place on city property. Therefore, in addition to thanking the city, I am requesting a thank you letter to Starbucks. If a corporation takes it upon itself to go beyond their gratitude for the residents, I believe is it a good idea for the city to also recognize their efforts. And who knows, other corporations might follow suit. So I'm just thanking you again, councils members, for, like I said, permitting that to happen. And I give blood in honor of my father, Pedro Vallejo, who many of you know who he is, and my brother, who was a past Santa Fe Springs city fireman. So I tell you, I am grounded and committed to the city and everything that goes on. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vallejo. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, next we have Jessica Torres.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello, my name's Jessica Torres. I'm a nurse for the Montebello Unified, and I'm just here because I hear a lot of negativity. And I would like to personally thank our Mayor, Annette, for all the work she has done in our community and all the lives she has touched. Please continue, Annette, to be a strong woman that inspires our community. During campaign time, you'll get people that want to come at you, unprofessionalist fabrications, with unprofessionalism, fabrications, and half stories. Please continue to be strong because we are proud to have you as your mayor. I am proud to have you there for me whenever I need something. I know I can contact the office and they'll get a hold of you and you will reach out to me. Thank you. Don't let this negativity get you down. You're a strong woman, you're a professional woman, and I'm very proud to have you as my mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, next we have Irma Withron.
Thank
She'll be
you.
speaking via Zoom.
Hi, Irma.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm speaking on item number 12. My name is Irma Withron, and this item, as you've heard from several members of the public, relates to the removal of pine trees on Mage Stone Avenue. Something that I'd like to point out to the room and to the council member is directing the attention to the city staff report that was prepared by your technical staff of the City Council, our community staff that is in charge of being experts on a lot of different subjects. And this one, I believe, was prepared by the Public Works Department. Specifically, I think something that brings to question to me and to other members of the public is, you know, the city has a policy and criteria for determining whether or not trees should be removed. I'm not talking about Maidstone, I'm just talking about citywide. And a lot of community members have been guided by that policy over many, many years. The city's policy is to protect and preserve healthy trees. Healthy trees provide a benefit to the environment and add quality of life. That's per the city staff report provided to you for tonight's items. The trees on Maidstone, the report says, are not dead, diseased, or dying, which is criteria of the policy, of the city's policy for removal of individual trees. The trees are not hazardous as there is no high risk of failure, potential structural damage to a building, or a sight distance issue caused by trees. The main issue the report cites is property maintenance and property damage caused by the pine trees. And I think one thing that I'd like to point out today, and this is not against neighbors, that I've personally, my family has dealt with our own project that we had issues in our neighborhood. So I know what it feels like to be affected by someone and wanting the city council to listen to you. But I think the core of the matter here, and I spoke on this item previously, is that the city has a policy to abide by. And I think other members of the council have brought this up. If the policy is not working, then the city council as a whole has an obligation to see why the policy isn't working. If you're applying an exception in this case, then you need to have criteria of how you apply that exception. If the policy is old and outdated, then the city council as a whole needs to look at that policy ahead of making a decision of Maidstone Avenue. I'm not saying don't approve Maidstone Avenue, that it's not worthy of it, but I think the core of the issue here is if you're implementing an exception, if you're waving the magic wand here and saying, oh, this is different, then other people might raise their hand and say, I'm different too. You need to have criteria in order to be able to evaluate whether or not you should apply that exception in this case and other cases. maybe there's other people to
Madam Mayor, that concludes our speakers.
All right, thank you. I want to thank all our speakers for being here and giving your comments. Appreciate it. We're going to move now to item number 6, Public Financing Authority Agenda. We have one consent item. Is there a motion for the approval of item number 6?
I'll move. 6.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? So ordered. Item number 7, Water Utility Authority Agenda. We have 2 consent items. Is there a motion for the approval of items number 7A and 7B?
I'll move 7A and B. Second.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? So ordered. Item number 8, Housing Successor Agenda. We have 1 consent item. Is there a motion for the approval of item number 8?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? So ordered. There are no items to be considered under the successor agency agenda. Moving on to the next item. Item number 9, City Council Agenda. We have 6 consent items, A through F. Is there a motion for the approval of the City Council consent agenda?
I'll move A through F.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? So ordered. Public hearing item number 10, resolution number 9816, approving the issuance by the California Statewide Communities Development Authority of exempt facility bonds for a qualified residential project for the Verde Apartments. I would like to call on Director of Planning, Wayne Morrell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council, members of the audience. So this item before you today, as the mayor stated, is resolution number 9816. Next slide, please. The property in question is Verde Apartments. You can see it on the slide. It's 34 units of affordable housing. Next slide, please. So this is the California Statewide Communities Development Authority through the state of California is about to issue bonds for the purposes of financing the multifamily residential housing project via Verde. Next slide, please. So the Via Verde Housing Partners, they've requested that is CSDA serve as the municipal issuer of tax exempt bonds. To make it real brief and short, when there is a process whereby tax exempt bonds are issued, you have to go through a hearing. And this is what is before you today, a hearing for the issuance of the bonds. Next slide, please. So to issue bonds within the city, you have to have what is known as a TEFRA hearing according to the Internal Revenue Code, but don't worry about all that jargon. Let's just move on. Next slide, please. So before you can have this hearing, there's a process that's involved. Everyone has to be notified. It has to be published because you have to give the residents an opportunity to argue in favor or against the bonds. And again, the bonds are for the acquisition and rehabilitation of the Via Verde apartment complex. Next slide, please. And this is more for everyone benefits, including the city. With the issuance of the bond, there's no obligation on the city whatsoever for any payments of the bond, any debt that's issued by the issuance of the bond. It's just that for most organizations, especially nonprofit, there isn't a forum whereby they can have a public hearing. So essentially, we are the host for that public hearing. Next slide, please. So according to the TEFRA requirement, a notice of public hearing, a reasonable time period is 7 days. And we did adhere to that 7 days. So the notice of public hearing was published in the Whittier Daily News, September the 10th. And that notice was sent to all of the residents of the apartment complex and posted on their door. Next slide, please. So this is a sample of the notice that was also published in the Whittier Daily News and also placed on the door of all 34 residents and in the public area of the apartment complex. It did specify the date and time of today's hearing, and also that anyone can attend this meeting either electronically or telephonically and give the Zoom address. Next slide, please. Again, there's no fiscal impact to the city. There is a nominal processing fee that the city receives, but the city bears no liability for the issuance of the bond. Next slide, please. And you need to make the connection between the previous item that was a consent item, and that essentially explained the purpose of the bond. So item 8 and 10 were related to each other. But for this, just note that there's no obligation on the city for the issuance of a bond. There's a process outlined when a company goes to a city or an agency for the issuance of a bond, and we're just facilitating that process. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Doesn't have to come.
It's about 5,000. Oh, excuse me.
Madam Mayor, right now would be the time for questions from council. And then and then afterward, you would open the public hearing for anybody who wishes to speak.
Okay. All right. Does any of our council have any questions?
Nothing. You answered the question when we had our one-on-one meeting. Thank you, Wayne.
Yeah, and I just want to say I was really impressed when I found out about the residents, the owner helping the residents move their items out. And
that is correct. The item number 8 was a consent item, so I did not really give a presentation on that, but you are correct. The 10 million is to acquire and rehab the 34 units. And in return, there will be a 55-year affordability covenant. So for 55 years to 2077, all of those 34 units will be restricted. So there will be affordable units until 2077.
thank you. All right, I would like to open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to be heard, please raise your hand via Zoom or approach the podium. When speaking, please state your name.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Mr. Morale, I just got a question on that processing fee and administrative fee. You said it's approximately $5,000. Is that what it equates?
That
to?
is correct, sir.
And that comes from where?
It's an amount that's agreed upon
Between who?
between us and the developer.
Okay, so the public's got no input in that whatsoever, right?
That is correct.
Okay, is this channeled, funneled through HUD?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And as far as the units, I saw that it was, the geographic location was between Albertus and Jersey. What's the other cross street?
It has frontage on both Albertus and Jersey Avenue. It's north of Telegraph Road. Could you go back and show the gentleman the slide, please?
So this is just north of Telegraph, mid-block.
Now, these affordable housing units, are they going to be available to a particular age group or anyone that's just in need of housing, can't afford housing?
So these 34 units, they're already occupied with low-income individuals. There's one unit that is vacant, but essentially what will happen, the bonds will be used to rehab the unit. So those people will be relocated and then reoccupy those units.
Right, because you have to rehabilitate the property.
That is
Bring it
correct,
up to
so.
code and so forth. I understand
Yes.
that. But so it's going to be housed by the same tenants that are there right now?
That is correct.
And if somebody decides to move out or just decides not to continue any further, that vacancy becomes available to who, sir?
So anyone that fits the income requirement.
What is that, 20,000 and below?
No, it's 30, so it's low to moderate income. So it's anywhere from 30% of AMI to 80% of AMI.
And how many veterans are in there right now?
That I do not know.
Okay, so this would be basically afforded to the veterans as well.
It would be afforded to anyone that meets the income requirement. I do have the borrowers or the prospective buyers. They are on Zoom. In the event they can answer that question, but essentially the residents that are there
Yes, sir.
will reoccupy the unit.
Understand that.
If a unit becomes vacant and somebody goes through the Section 8 process, whether they're a veteran or not, they'll be able to occupy any of those units. But it's not a veterans preference development.
So you kind of answered my question when you stipulated there's be Section 8 as well.
They're all Section 8, yes.
All right, very good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for keeping me on my toes.
Thank you. City Clerk, do we have any other speakers?
Madam Mayor, we have one speaker, Samantha Cohen.
Hi, Samantha.
And Madam Mayor, Samantha is with the group that will be purchasing the apartments.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I raised my hand, but Wayne, I think you pretty much answered it. So this project is covered by a Section 8 HAP contract administered by HUD. So when someone moves out, we have to fill that empty unit off of the waiting list. So anyone can join the waiting list, but there cannot be a specific preference or set aside for any specific demographic. It's a family property. We would love to house veterans, but yeah, we have to go in order of the folks on the waiting list. And then that's all. I can answer any other questions if there anything else comes up.
Okay, do we have any other comments from the public?
Madam Mayor, that concludes our speakers.
Thank you. I will now close the public hearing. Is there a motion for the approval of item number 10?
I'll move.
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So ordered. Item number 11, 2022 Halloween Carnival Enhancements. I would like to call on Parks and Recreation Service Manager Gus Hernandez.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm here tonight to talk to you about the 2022 Halloween Carnival enhancements. Next slide. There we go. At the City Council meeting on August 16th, City Council directed staff to bring back the Halloween Carnival enhancements within an amount of $25,000. The Halloween Carnival, as planned without the enhancements, will consist of 2 inflatables, 15 Carnival-style game booths, candy giveaways, a DJ and sound equipment, 2 TVs to transmit major sporting events. We are anticipating the Dodgers potentially playing in Game 5 or Game 6 of the World Series, medals for the costume parade, staff for Halloween-themed attire, a mad science show, light towers, and portable restrooms. Next slide, please. This here is an aerial of our plot plan for the Halloween Carnival pre-enhancements. On the far left, the yellow squares, we see the two inflatable areas. In the middle of your screen, the gray box is the stage and seating. And over on the east end of the park, we have the blue boxes. Those represent our food vendors. In the middle of the park, we have 15 small boxes. Those are representative of the carnival game booths. Next slide, please. This here is a representation of what the Halloween Carnival will look like post enhancements. So here we see a total of 10 inflatable attractions for kids. We see a pumpkin patch area near the waiting pool. We have a laser tag area. And then for the teen population, we do have a teen dance inside of the activity center, which will be open from 5 to 6 for elementary school age kids so that they can experience that as well. And from 7 to 10, we'll have a dance for the teen population. So next, I'm going to walk you through a little bit of what these enhancements are specifically. So again, the enhancements include a pumpkin patch area, laser tag, a reptile display. We plan on purchasing 5 new carnival game booths to replace some of our worn out game booths. Spooky giveaway items such as novelty toys and plush toys for kids, and that's in addition to our candy. We're planning on bringing out balloon animal artist, and then we will have a photo booth area with the classic Public Works truck. These are some of the attractions that we're planning to bring out. We are going to call this area Covington's Attractions. And so we understand that Mr. Covington had a true deep history with our city, and we want to make sure that we honor his family. So we're planning on bringing out a 45-foot Avengers course, 45-foot fun house, 2 castle bounce houses for the younger kids, a 60-foot tropical course, an inflatable corn maze, a rock wall, a 3-in-1 sports zone that includes baseball, basketball, and football, a bungee run, and a 40-foot obstacle course. In the activity center, like we mentioned, we are planning on doing a glow-in-the-dark dance party and a hollow teen dance. So from 5 to 6, we're going to allow the elementary school age kids to experience the glow-in-the-dark dance party. We'll remove those kids, and then we'll allow the teens to experience a hollow teen dance in the activity center. We are planning on, or we're proposing to charge a $3 entry fee, similar to what we used to do for the haunted house, to charge an entrance fee and then a discounted rate if the participants would like to bring out a canned food item. And those canned food items would benefit the Gus Velasco Neighborhood Center holiday basket programs. The dance party also includes DJ and lighting, glow-in-the-dark supplies, and a robotic laser dancers. So the video didn't play, but there's actually 2 robotic dancers there in the slide. And so before we move on, I just wanted to thank our Parks and Rec leadership team. These are the people that came up with these fantastic ideas. They're very creative, and I want to make sure that we recognize all of those people on our team. As far as the fiscal impact, the total cost of the enhancement is approximately $25,000, which is budgeted in our current adopted budget. And these enhancements will replace the haunted house line item, which is budgeted for $40,000. So essentially, we're going to be having a $15,000 savings. As far as the infrastructure, the Halloween Carnival is a one-day event, which will be held at Los Nietos Park on Saturday, October 29th from 5 to 9 p.m. And the event setup and breakdown would impact Los Nietos Park for one day. So tonight, our recommendation is to approve the recommended enhancements for the 2022 Halloween Carnival. That concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions?
Just a comment.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
I think this is definitely gonna give these kids and the community a great deal. And I know it's not the haunted house, but I think this really sets a level of expectation for us to keep going forward and make it fun for these kids and the community to have throughout the day. So thank you, guys.
just echo on it, just the fact that we gave you, options and you worked with it. And in fact, it saved us. So thank you to you and your staff. I'm excited. You always come up with a different idea, something you always do better than the year before. So great, great brainstorming with the staff. So can't wait.
I just actually want to say, and I think we'd all agree that the work that you've done, Gus, I mean, has been tremendous. Everything that we've given you, like you just have gone above and beyond. So, I mean, I know I'm speaking on behalf of myself, but I'm pretty sure my colleagues agree. I just want to applaud you, man, because everything you do.
Right. I appreciate that, but I want to thank our team. It's a lot easier when you have a great team to work with.
Yeah, thank you. No, what they said, you're an excellent leader. You got a great creative team behind you, and it seems like not only this Halloween, the past Halloween, but every single event you get to, it just supersedes and it just gets better and better every year. So, thank you.
Gus, I want to say thank you too. You've done a fabulous job and the staff is amazing. And I'm just looking forward to the event. I'm going to be there right when it opens. Thank you. All right. So there's no more questions. All those in favor? Oh, hold on. Is there a motion for the approval of item number 11?
I'll move.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So ordered. All right, moving on to item number 12, Maidstone Avenue Parkway Pine Trees, approval of amendment number 1 to agreement with West Coast Arborists for tree removal. I would like to call on Director of Public Works, Noe Negrete.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council. So we're bringing an old item back, the Maidstone pine trees. So first we'll go through some history of how we got here, and then we will get to the new costs that were requested. Thank you. Okay, if you recall, there was a survey submitted by the residents back in April. 90% of the residents were requesting the removal of the pine trees. City survey was conducted in May, getting very similar 90% results as was done by the residents. This is a pictorial view of the pine trees, the 27 homes, and representing how they voted. We were not able to get to the ones in the gray. We went back a couple of times and were unsuccessful in getting their votes. So the major issue about these pine trees is really comes down to property maintenance and damage that's being caused by the trees. Not only damage to the homes, but also damage to the street itself. The major complaints when we did the survey was the sweeping of the sidewalk, front yard areas, sweeping of their roofs and backyard areas from the pine needles. Also sap that continues to drop from the trees onto vehicles. The trees, the droppings from the pine needles, the sap, having to constantly rake up these pine needles have really led to a poor quality of life due to the upkeep and maintenance necessary for those pine needles. And the pine needles were also getting into people's pools and clogging their filters, tree roots infiltrating sewer laterals and having to get sewer laterals replaced. So I want to clarify this. We do have a city tree policy, and it is our job to protect and preserve healthy trees. The criteria that we main criteria used is dead, disease, or dying. In this case, it doesn't meet that, and there is no risk of tree failure, potential structure damage, building or site distance issues. However, our tree policy is meant for individual trees. We do that on an individual basis. This is not that. This is a whole street. That's why this item is before you. But it's an individual street. It comes to our staff, our arborist, takes a look at it, makes a recommendation. Then it goes to me, I sign off on that. The resident has an appeal process that goes to the planning commission, and there's a process for that. This didn't go through that because it is an entire street. Again, on June 7th, just as a reminder here, the direction currently is to have staff take down these trees. That was a direction that was provided at the June 7th meeting. It was also take the necessary steps to remove them. After that meeting, it was determined by me that we needed to, if we had West Coast Arborists remove them, we needed to issue them a change order because it's beyond their amount of their contract. And I can't exceed that amount of the contract without your approval. That was brought back at the July 5th meeting, which was their change order request, so we can get these removed. At that meeting, you directed me to provide all the associated costs that were associated with removing of the trees. At that time, those costs were not available. I said I needed more time to work with the designers to bring those costs to you. And I will share those costs with you here shortly. The designers, after that meeting, we had them take a look at the street and incorporate, if we were going to remove the trees, what would be the additional items necessary to put in those plans. And the plans are currently under design. We're roughly about 90%, but this is not a standalone project. This is one street of many that are south of Florence Avenue that we call the Triangle Project. It's a larger project. This street was changed once we added the trees to be removed, but the same observations that we observed as a staff were similar. Those were the same ones that noted by the designer. So they also saw sidewalk uplift, curb and gutter displacement, evidence of poor drainage in the gutters due to the tree uplift, and AC pavement uplift due to the tree roots. So the plans were modified to show that tree replacement, and the additional items were kind of quantified, and costs were prepared for you today. As a big picture, the total project budget is $2.6 million. At our 90% estimate, the construction cost alone is right now $1.9 million. So that doesn't include engineering costs or the inspection costs, but we feel that at least right now, we're on budget. Obviously, we're not going to know that until we go out to bid. So those associated costs that we're looking at is additional sidewalk removal. Once you pull out that tree and the roots, we do anticipate additional sidewalk that needs to be removed to the tune of about $17,000. Parkway improvements. So this is the area between your curb and your sidewalk. Most of the time, there's turf there or sod. So what would happen is if we go with West Coast Arborists, they would remove the tree, they would stump grind the rest of the trunk to about 18 to 24 inches down, and they would try to take as many roots associated in that nearby vicinity. Some roots may still remain. They'll have to be taken out with this contract when we do the street. There'll be some regrading. And I do want to clarify in the exhibit that we provided you, Exhibit C, I believe, that had Maidstone. We want to clarify, we did say it was a sod was going to be replaced. We're not going to put sod. Sod's too expensive. We will seed that area. That way the turf will grow back. If there's irrigation there and it's damaged, we replace the irrigation back in kind. If there's no irrigation there, we do not replace it. But most cities have the policy just like us. Even though the parkway is technically our property, it's the property owner's responsibility to maintain that area. Those costs for all the parkways is $53,000. So I would say those are direct costs associated with the trees. So you're talking about an additional $70,000. The West Coast quote was 44. We rounded it to 50. So you're talking about $120,000 to remove those trees and direct costs associated with those trees. And let me talk about indirect costs. The curb and gutter, as was noted, it is a relatively flat area. There is some ponding of water there. I imagine when it rains, there's probably bigger ponding of water because not only because of the tree uplifting the curb and gutter, but because of the pine needles as well holding back the water. At this time, we're recommending to replace that curb and gutter. Unfortunately, we're really talking about a 1.5 foot fall difference in about 800 feet. So we'll slightly improve the drainage there, but we do think that's the appropriate measure. Now that we are going to do the street improvements, that would be the right time to do the curb and gutter. That's about $150,000 to do both sides of the street. Worst case scenario, we're saying that if we replaced every single driveway, it would be about $100,000. Right now, we're looking at with the designer where we can salvage some of those driveways. Some of the driveways are still in good shape. And because it's relatively flat, we can still replace the curb and gutter and still be able to join the existing driveway. Thereby, I'm giving you the worst case scenario of 100,000, but I'm pretty confident we can lower that number once we get into final design. So if you add those totals again, you've already committed to the 50,000 already for the tree removals. On top of that, we're talking about $70,000 for sidewalk and parkway improvements. And then we'd be talking about worst case scenario, $250,000 for curb and gutter and driveway replacements. And again, I can't blame the tree 100% for that. Part of it is just man-made. It's very flat. There is some of the roots that are uplifting that, but it's not 100%. Can't attribute that to the trees. If you attribute it all to the trees as worst case scenario, you're talking about an additional $320,000. But again, I do believe that a major portion of that $250,000 just needs to be done when you are rehabbing the street. I do need some further direction from you tonight. If you wish to move forward on this item with West Coast Arborists. I know a couple of you have given me some questions regarding timing. So again, depending how this goes, today, we do want to finalize our plans by the end of this year, go out to bid, and early next year be in construction. What the additional information I need from you to clarify if we move forward is, if we go forward with West Coast Arborists, issue them the change order, I need to know if you want me to get those trees removed immediately, meaning I would work with them on a schedule, but we would do that at the earliest opportunity available. Number two is we can give a change order to West Coast Arborists, and you can tell me you want to wait closer to when the street will be redone, which would be, say, the end of the year. And you can give me that direction as well. Or you can say, we don't want to have West Coast Arborists do it at all, and we'll wait to do this as part of the street improvement project. Those are all viable options. We do have a couple of pictures of the street. So you do have some close-ups up on top showing the vertical displacement of the curb and gutter. To your right, you do see where the roots have come into the icy pavement. Again, to your left, you do see, again, more curb and gutter. And then to the right, you do see where the pavement is essentially failing. And this doesn't do it justice if you're out there. I've probably been out there the last 8 years, seeing many of these residents. And this is just a typical day in terms of what you see out there in terms of the pine needles.
Real quick.
So just last wrap up here, and then you can take as many questions as you like, is we have before you today is the recommendation to appropriate $20,000 from our general fund to this activity for street maintenance. Approve West Coast Arborist Amendment number 1, the amount of $44,140, and authorize the mayor to execute amendment number 1. And with that, I'm happy to take your questions.
You had a question?
Thank you. So if we do it immediately, it would be done now, but when's a project going to be started?
So best case scenario, we want to start this project at the beginning of next year.
So if we postpone, and say whatever way we go, just say we don't do it immediately, we do it when everything be done at one time. What is the recommendation of it? Do trees now, wait, or do everything together at one time? Like is there, if we take out the trees now, would it be easier they do the big project, or is it better to do everything at one time? Or what's the advantages and disadvantages of doing it when?
I'm not sure what the correct answer is. They're all correct answers there. It's really a matter of urgency. If you have an urgency to get it done now, then I would tell you to do that now. If you can wait till the street is going to get started, then you can wait. But it's really a matter of urgency that you need to answer.
So it's not going to make a difference whether we do it yesterday or whether we do it when the project starts. The big one.
Whatever we do, if we remove the trees early, we have to make that area safe, right? So they remove the trees, remove the stump. They're going to have to make that area safe. If they can't make it safe, we can't do it. But in talking to West Coast Arborists, we believe we can make it safe.
You have a question?
I just have I guess a statement. We know that when it comes to these trees, I mean, we know that the great detail that, looking at the pictures, you see all the pine needles and you see all the uplifts of our our streets and even curb and gutter. And I know that you got senior citizens or different people walking around there. I know it makes it real difficult for anybody to walk. So I know this is a necessary need that we got to do. I just look at it this way. If we wait for January, you know, the way our weather's been, I mean, it's been a little, it's been real different. I don't think anybody really realizes what's going on. We've been having monsoons, we've been having different things. So I think I would like to see us move on it as quickly as possible. So, you know, that's just my statement, just with regards to the weather, just going from there. And not only that, and hearing the concerns of our residents too.
Any other comments?
So all the money that comes from this snow is all general fund money, correct? The 2.6 million we put away is from our CIP contract, from our CIP funds, correct?
That's correct. So if you remember, last year, we approved our new capital improvement plan. And we did talk about funding. For the last 3 years, we've been asking Caltrans to see if they can kick in some money. Because it's my belief that a lot of those streets were exponentially deteriorated because of the vehicles that Caltrans drove on there for the 5 years that they did the Florence Avenue project. Many of you sat on that I-5 committee representing us, hearing myself and yourselves trying to fight for additional money from Caltrans. They kept on telling us that once the project was done, they would see if there was any money left over, so that way they can fund some of that. The project was substantially complete about 6 months ago, and their answer was, no, we're not going to give you any money.
So my next question is, and again, this has never been about if the trees need to go or they don't need to go, because I don't think anybody up here disagrees with Maidstone saying that the trees need to be out. But when we have to come up with an extra $120,000 of your taxpayer money, we have to make sure that we are spending it in the right way. Because now we are setting presence on that whole triangle area for all the other trees that we need to maybe be ready for if another block comes and says, well, I want my trees taken out. And where does it stop?
If public comments is now closed, so
I don't disagree with you guys. I don't like the trees. Okay, I don't like them. But you guys are putting us up here to watch over how we spend your money. And if you don't like the decisions that we make, we're doing it for the overall community, not just for one street. Well, Parkmead was on a list, the same list that Maidstone and the Triangle is on. Can you open up a comment again, please?
oh, excuse me, excuse me. Do you have anything else that you need
No,
to say?
yeah, I do, but I want to open up because I want to ask a question to the public, or to Irma. I can't ask her a question. She can't answer it. Irma. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Isabel. I'm sorry,
Okay,
Isabel.
we can open up public comments, but Isabel, can you come up to the podium?
You can open up public comment.
I did. I opened up
Oh,
public
I'm sorry.
comments.
Thank you. I just have a question. I mean, even,
Anybody think I made?
yeah, it doesn't matter.
Anybody.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So all I have is a question. When you guys wanted your trees, have you guys ever gone to Noe and asked, can we get this tree taken down?
That's irrelevant to the cause right now.
No, we're trying
It's
to,
very irrelevant.
no,
All we
it's
need to
very
do
relevant.
tonight is discuss whether we have the votes necessary to process. the
No, that's not
project,
it.
Just like it was for Parkmead.
The
Is
ones
there
on Parkmead
disparate
were on a
treatment
list.
for these residents that is going to deny them the same opportunity that, do you live on Parkmead or own any interest in Parkmead?
I do. I have 2 houses on Parkmead.
Oh, how many of you knew them?
But we didn't ask for
No,
the trees
this,
to be
no,
taken
this
down.
is irrelevant.
We didn't ask for the
When
trees to be
city
taken down.
attorney said, when my sister was speaking,
Mhm.
she was speaking to the fact that votes are taken every night and there's influence.
Yes.
You are responsible for coming up with the revenue, not us.
And that's what we're trying to do.
And you came up with the revenue for Parkmead.
That was on a list.
I don't care if it was on the moon. We want to know
July
why
25th.
we are treated
Ju-
with disparate treatment.
July
Is it because we're
25th.
Latinos?
CIP
Is it because we're
committee.
aged?
No, it doesn't matter.
Really?
Yes.
But Parkmead was approved.
By
You
who?
Found the money.
It was
You
already,
voted on it.
it was, I did
Bill
not vote
Brown
on it.
voted on it.
I did not vote
At
on
a
it.
planning meeting.
No, I
We
did
can
not.
talk to. We will do our due diligence.
Do your due diligence.
And it's taken down, not taken down.
Well, we did
If
not.
you're gonna make comments on Facebook to disparage these people
I'm
who
not
want
disparaging anybody.
equal representation on this council,
Yes.
do a better job. Don't insult us. Don't promise us on our park.
I didn't
our
promise you
porches.
nothing.
Oh, we will take care of it. We will take care of it. And to be relegated to come here every Tuesday or every other Tuesday or whatever it is to beg for what is due to us, what we've been asking for.
Why is it due to you?
For over
Why is it due to
10
you?
years, because it was given to you.
No, it
on
wasn't.
Parkmead?
No, it wasn't.
Were the pine trees removed from Parkmead?
Yes.
Yes or no? Simple.
Yes. Yes.
They were healthy trees?
Why?
Yes or no?
Ask the director. why they
No,
were
no,
removed.
he's not elected. You are.
Okay, why would they?
And
why
we
would
are
they
gonna
took it out?
note
Do you
that.
want to know why?
I'm just
One at
putting
a time,
everybody on
please.
notice.
Do you want to know why?
Why? We have one of the biggest
You cannot
revenue
fix-
bases.
You
in
cannot.
soci- You, did you, wait a minute.
Do you want to hear it?
You want?
You wanna
No, no,
hear it?
you want to talk about
At a
money.
time,
Let me
please.
finish. Let me finish about the money.
Go ahead.
We have per capita, one of the highest revenue tax bases.
Exactly.
Okay, we are either in the top, what, 15 or 20? I can't remember the last time I looked at it. 13? So the priority of funding should not be an issue because the money's there. You just don't want to assign it to us.
Why?
And I
Why
want
would
to
I not
know
want to assign it to
why.
you? Yeah,
You're
that's what I
saying,
want to know.
you keep saying, well, we had you putting us under the pressures to come up with the money. That's your job.
Well,
That's why we're here, to tell you how to do your job.
and that's why we have policy and procedures, right?
Well,
And they were not followed, were they?
What, okay.
Why
okay.
were they not followed?
You are the councilman. It's your responsibility to tell me what wasn't followed. Because as far as I'm concerned, everybody keeps following the policy, coming here, speaking,
That's not
asking
the
questions,
policy.
and you keep turning it around.
No, I didn't. I've never once said I didn't
I
want to do
don't
it.
need your vote tonight.
You don't.
We only have 2 votes already.
That's right.
I want the 2 elected officials to know that just as you develop, and believe me, this is why I don't like to speak. Because I get all convoluted on any given Tuesday, and it does matter because we do speak it to the attention of an item, any item, whether it's trees, whether it's parkways, whether it's pool construction, on any given Tuesday. Any of you 5 can come up with a coalition of 3. That's it, because that's all it takes is 3 votes. And this is why you can speak so blatant and arrogantly or dismissive of our concerns, because you're not up for election. I'm just putting the 2 people who are. I don't need your vote. I just need these 2 people to know. Will he come through for me? Will I get elected? Who's going to be up in my seat? Will the next person who takes my seat see my reason and address my needs and the needs of these people? Will they? I don't need to justify my reason to be here. You need to justify why you can't come up with the money. You did it for Parkmead, and you'll do it for any other project. You found the ones for the trees outside of the city hall when you had the parking lot revamped. Those trees were healthy. They were taken down. I can go step by step, and I mentioned all these kinds of improvements I've seen in Santa Fe Springs. You get $20,000 for a carnival because that's more priority over my neighbors tripping and falling. My sister fell and broke her foot in 3 places, lost 3 months worth of work.
And
You
that's
don't
why-
need to
that's
know
why it
that.
needs to
Your
be
job
fixed.
is to stop it from happening again.
Yes, exactly.
There are neighbors that couldn't come tonight because they're elderly. So even if they want to walk the sidewalks, they can't come here to tell you that because they're elderly.
Not to interrupt, with due respect to you and to Jay. I don't think none of us ever said we're not going to do this project. We never said we're not going to do this project. But listen, I gave you the respect, but we never said we weren't going to do this project. All we're saying is, okay, let's see exactly how much it's going to cost, and then we're going to move forward on it. Don't disrespect me. I've been respecting you.
I just need to know when I can respond to that.
So, like I said, is it a priority? Yes. or it's gonna happen. Yeah, we just want to know, I mean, just as much as Jay, Annette, Joe Angel, and John. We want to know if it's $1, $2, $5, $10. Doesn't, the thing is that we just wanted to see the numbers, back to where we're gonna get it from. We're not saying we're not gonna get it. We're not saying we're not gonna do it. We're doing our due diligence. And just that you know, this vote, which way I vote, it's not because I want to be up here or not. I'm here because this is my city, just as it is yours. You live on Maidstone, I live on Dunning. I'm not here, whichever way I vote for this or another item, or item I voted on 10 years ago, or item I vote last month. I'm not here for a vote. I'm here to do the best job I can. And this is not for election year. Because this can be put on next year. This can be put on in January. It can be whenever. I did my due diligence as and I respect Edward, thank you. I actually even walked Miller Grove. I walked all the other streets that have pine trees like this. I did that in the last couple of weeks to see, fine, if we're gonna do your street, we're gonna do Maidstone, okay, what did we learn from this? What are we gonna learn from this? What should we do differently for the other trees? What are we gonna do to set precedents that when we do Maidstone, that we should do on the other side? We need to change our general plan. We need to change our other things. It's a learning process. I do not know everything there is about council. I don't know Noe's job. My profession is working in pharmacy. I can tell you anything about a pill. I can do that, but I can't know about trees. I don't know every issue that you guys have. I respect Edward coming and talking to me, not disrespecting me in any which way or form, giving up his time and my time. Thank you for never disrespecting me as a council member. So thank you. But I did have to do my homework as well. And I did walk the streets. Like I said, what we're going to learn from your street, what you guys are going to be the role model for what we do and change. You residents are doing what we ask residents to do. When there's an issue, come together as a whole and let's move forward on it, not to bash everybody up, because I've been on here 13 years and I've never been bashed so much in the last 6 months than I have my whole year. It's sad. This is not what this is for. We need you guys to voice your opinion to us, and we got to move forward and move on this. But like I said, Maidstone is going to be a project of how we're going to do the other streets as well. So thank you.
Do you have something to say?
You yourself said right now, we don't know if it's going to happen this year or next year.
No, I'm not saying that. I
You
want
said that.
I said, when was it better? Is it better to do it now or is it better to do it then?
So basically you are stating there's no certainty as when it's going to be
No, it's the
done.
one question I still had to ask.
And this
Okay.
is where we,
One at a
the
time,
residents, for over a decade at minimum, right?
13 years since I've been on council, it's been an
Okay.
issue. 13 years.
Yeah, we've been asking for this for years, and every time we have an excuse. Money. Trees are good. It's not an excuse. It happened. You don't need to know how to go forward. It already happened on Parkmead with the same the same condition, same roots, same gutters, same sidewalks, same everything.
Madam Mayor,
The
Madam
plan
Mayor?
had already been set as an example. Maybe there's some minor modifications. But we want to know tonight, we want this resolved, because if we have to, we're not gonna vote somebody in who needs a learning curve. We need action. Okay? That's all I'm saying.
Madam Mayor,
You wouldn't have me here screaming and yelling and being perceived as disrespecting if this thing had been resolved years ago. There's no learning curve. There's only decision.
Yeah.
And we, the residents, want a decision tonight, so we know how to move forward in November. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Madam Mayor, are you closing public comment again? Madam Mayor, are you closing public comment again?
Yes, I'm
Thank you.
closing, unless there's
Do you want
somebody
to
else
speak?
that needs to speak. Did you want to speak? Go ahead. I'm sorry, I should have asked. Mhm.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to work, to come here. Sorry, I spent all day at work in my house, but I just wanted to mention about, the Mason Avenue. I'm one of the newest neighbors there. I moved in about 12 years ago, and my house is the bottom one with the pool. There's two with the pool right now. And since we moved to the city, we have replaced the pool 4 times. Now, I just received a quote. Again, I have to replace it because of the damage that is happening to the properties. Councilmember Juanita, you mentioned the urgency. Perhaps is not seen on the outside, for the city, but as the residents, we're having to get those costs. Now I have to budget to replace my pool pump every 4 years. So that's something that I was not counting when I moved to the city. And of course, I didn't want to do that. My brother, who works in making pools, he says that pump expectancy lifetime should be anywhere between 10 and 15 years. So I've been in the house for 12 years and I have replaced the pool now 4 times. So as I said, maybe, we see as residents see as urgent because we're the ones having to take the money out of our pockets. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one more question. One more question. So the way,
Because we haven't spoke either. John and I have not
okay, I'm
spoken.
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go.
John?
First of all,
Quick question.
oh, sorry.
Is public comment still open or are you closing it?
Does anybody?
I have a question about public comment. That's why.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I got a question for the Maidstone. So the way he played it out is you guys are gonna have seed down and then dirt. So you're not gonna have no sod. Are you guys okay with that right now? Because what I'm saying is, if not, then you have to put the budget in there to put sod down for it. So you guys are okay with dirt?
Hey, Jay, let me address it. And I'm going to take a delicate approach to this. I appreciate you taking a great deal of this right now. Listen, Jay, I've been in that property for 15 years. My grandmother-in-law has been there 40. You've heard a couple of the years that have been spit out. A lot of the residents that have been there and they've been dealing with it for that long. I'll tell you this much. I'm at a point where if there was no recourse, I would cut the thing down myself. I do not care about this tree. And then you just need to know, I don't think anybody cares about those trees. The margin of error that you see on there of the 90% of the people that want this done, that's a true number. And I'm sorry, but the last time this was done, it was like 50-50. So to answer your question, absolutely. I think that you're going to find a great deal of residents who will not only feel humbled by this, that the beautification of that particular street, and I shared this with many of the council members, is going to change. And I think it would probably behoove you to talk with some of the council members that you sit up there with and really get a good insight to where our hearts are on this thing. I choose not to invest in that parkway. I choose not to invest in my lawn. And it is a dirt lawn for the very reason why I want the trees removed. Because they're ugly, they're caustic, they bring no quality to us as residents. So in a nutshell, Jay, it's going to change the city. It's going to make it better. And I get it, there's a fiscal impact to this. But you understand there's a greater impact that has been felt for generations. Probably twice my age of residents have been there. I don't think urgency is the appropriate word at this particular point. This should have been done yesterday. And I think you said that, Juanita. This should have been done a long time ago. And going back to a question that you did ask is, hey, have you talked about this before? The answer is yes. And I'm sorry, there are many of you that are up here that have heard this message before. Maybe you haven't. Maybe this is your first time, Jay, but I'm telling you right now, this is not the first time that this has been brought up to this city. Noe's been in his seat for at least 10 years. Am I wrong, Noe? 10 years. When I first approached him about it, he had told me, quote, this is not the first time I've heard about your street. So let's not pretend that this is something new, that has not been brought before the city before, and that it has not been ignored time and time again. I've told many of you there is a great deal of hopelessness that comes from living on that street. When you come to this particular point in time and you're just turned away every single time, you have residents that are giving up. That's why I could care less.
Madam Mayor, this is Ray Cruz, the city manager. Can you hear me?
Let him finish.
I can hear you, but we had a resident still speaking.
I heard the buzzer, so I'm sorry. But
Okay.
I'll back off. I just was going to make some comments. But if he's still speaking, let him go ahead. I apologize.
That's okay.
Appreciate that, Ray. Thanks. Hey, yeah, Jay, look, it's not, and it's not directly you, Jay. Look, it's the entire council that's got to go through this and say, look, we're thumbs up. I just think we're at a point where you're going to run into a great deal of recourse of a bunch of people I've heard them tell me their cries. As probably one of the youngest ones living on that street that is trying to propel this in this direction. I do not want, and nor do I appreciate it as a resident, to hear them tell me you're wasting your time. Think about that. You've got a problem before you and people are telling you you're wasting your time. That to me tells me that, hey, you up there that have been elected to sit in that seat and represent the decision that, and I'm just going to stay on this particular topic, is looked at as a waste of time. And that should be shameful. And you all should look at that and you should look hard in the mirror and say, man, am I really doing what I should be doing on the city council to make sure that we are doing what's right for the residents? Put aside the political agenda, put aside all feelings. These are facts before you.
Yeah.
And you guys need to focus on the facts. So thank you.
Thank you.
Edward, this is Edward Cadena. Okay. All right, we have our, I'd like to close public comments and.
That you guys would go to the trouble to redo the streets and the curbs and the sidewalks and everything and not take those trees out right now. What, you gonna wait? When they did Florence out there, Caltrans or whatever to repave it, they asked them, okay, you gonna guarantee us you're not gonna have to open up the street again to do any work on it? And I think they told them yes, but then right away they end up having to do work again. That's a big expense. When are they gonna do curbs and sidewalks in the street again? Probably not for another 50 years. If those trees are gonna come out, they gotta come out now before they put that tree in. And Caltrans destroyed our streets through there. They should be responsible for at least Rostone in whatever Warren Day Street comes around through the thing that they've been driving on there and broke up that road. The road's terrible.
Yeah.
Extra traffic that is going through Maidstone now because you blocked off us from going down Guard or wherever it is to get out onto Florence. We got all those people speeding through our thing still. Nothing can be done. You won't put speed bumps in to slow them down, but there's a lot of traffic going through our place to go around to go through with their thing. And that's all I had to say. Thank you very much.
Sir, can I have your name, please?
Randy Romero.
You got that? Okay, thank you. Thank you. City Clerk,
Madam Mayor.
other speakers?
Besides Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Madam Mayor, that concludes our speakers.
Okay, I would like to now close public comments. Ray, are you there? We can hear you. You can
Yes,
speak.
yes, thank you. And I apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt the previous speaker. I was trying to get in earlier, but I get it's hard to do that when you're not there personally. But I just wanted to make a clarification because I know there were a little bit of finger pointing. It was a former council member, present council member's fault. You know, the actual residents of that street make this issue for many years. The answer is yes. The residents have been talking about this for years. Yes, the council members heard about it, and more importantly, staff had told the council and the residents that we would not take down those trees because they did not meet the criteria for our tree policy. These trees are healthy and they're not a danger to fall and hurt somebody. However, you saw the survey, there's 90% of that street wanting to be removed. That is very clear. This council has the ability to make an exception to the policy, which we're doing here, or change the policy entirely. You know, I've been doing this for 35 years and I've seen most tree issues are 50-50. This one's pretty big, going 90-10. I believe, again, this is just my personal opinion, not anybody on that street, that it's going to be a major change on that street. And I walk that street. That street is dangerous because of those trees. But I know when you have trees that size taken down, the whole character of that street's going to be different. So people who may have wanted them may not like it after they see them down. But you got 90% of people want them down right now, and that's what we're working towards. So we're ready as staff to do what you want, council. But I didn't want any council member on that dais being blamed for anything, because especially the ones that have been in the past, we told them we couldn't do anything because it was not in violation of the tree policy. And I think that's, you know, maybe mostly Joe Angel and Jay and Juanita, because they have been here before, and the new council members have been here in the last 4 years of their tenure. But I know these residents have been asking for this for years and years, and we've been telling them the same thing. Doesn't meet our tree policy. So I don't think there's any fault of the residents or our council members. If we want to make any fault, it's our staff following that policy, and now we're looking at ways to deal with this. So I just hated to see the residents in the council kind of trying to defend a position, but there's no fault here. You have residents who are ready to do it, and there was questions asked by this council, and we followed up on those, getting that information on the numbers. You have the numbers, and you guys just need to give us a direction where you want us to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. You want to speak?
Okay, hello, everybody. Let's take a couple moments to take a deep breath really quick here. And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm gonna start with Jay. He was just asking the question of the resident just for a very simple, basic response. Now, I completely agree with you. This is very emotional. And I saw it in you. Okay, I know I have no idea. Well, I kind of have an idea now. And and this is something that's coming from the residents. Also, has been stated here before, it was never said that we were not going to do this. Yes, we have ordinances, policies in place for single trees. One of the reasons that it probably has taken so long is because of the policy that we've had in the past. Very, very true. And so usually it got stopped at either maybe in the planning department, possibly the planning commission, and it never made it to this point because we did have the policies and procedures in place. Okay, now we're taking a bigger look at it. We do agree that this has to happen. But then one of the questions that they were asking is, I'll go back to Juanita again, correct me if I'm wrong. When she was asking the question to know, hey, should we do it now, January, or 6 months later? That's not to put it off. I believe she was asking, when is the best time to do it? And of course, overwhelming, yesterday. So, okay, question answered. But that was the only question that she was asking, to my belief. I did walk that street a couple times. I spoke to a couple of you guys a couple times. But also this does come as an expense. And then all we're asking, the public works and how much is it going to be to actually follow through with this? Now, if we did go through a old outdated ordinance, well, I think it's time to change it. Not only this ordinance, but possibly, other ordinances that have been outdated in our city. It might be time to take a better look at that one. But we never said that this was not going to happen. We just need to see where your tax dollars are going to go. And so the other streets, I think it was Parkmead, Bartley, a couple other streets that have been done. These are part of the CIP projects. They've already been slated to do that. One of the reasons that we're here right now is because your street was going to be redone. And yeah, we should do the trees too if we're going to do the whole thing. But I do agree with the tree removal. And this is the reason why. Just the pictures that you saw, well, you don't need to look at the pictures. You guys don't live there. And then, but I don't usually jump to answer questions quickly. I like to do my own research. I like to listen to both sides, both parties. And I have found out that pine trees, though they do, well, all trees provide a quality of life here in Santa Fe Springs. But I think these trees are not providing a good quality of life to Santa Fe Springs. They talk about, okay, oxygen, look it up. Pine trees have the least amount of oxygen production of any tree out there. So, and there definitely are a nuisance. But, we got to this point. The methodology that we got to this point, I'm very uncomfortable with. However, I want to put completely politics aside. When there's a need of the residents, we're here to address it. And I just want to be able to bring back respect, not only amongst our council members, but also council members to the public and public to us as well. And that's my only comment for today. Thank you.
All right. I wanted to say a few things too before we pick our vote, because we keep mentioning Parkmead and Maidstone. They're so similar. So Maidstone is there's a little blurb right here: tree replacement, parkway improvements, curb and gutter, driveway and sidewalk replacement. Parkmead is the trees are the cause of drainage problems, curb and gutter damage, dripping sap, and pine cone needles falling. The existing trees would be removed and replaced with a new, less intrusive tree specimen at no charge to the residents. they're identical. They're just identical, except for Parkmead had more trees than what Maidstone has. We've done a lot of research. I want to thank all the residents for all their research. I mean, we are very educated on these trees. It says the project is within the budget of 2.6 million. Is that accurate? That's what you have right here on your paperwork?
Yeah, it's based on our engineer's estimate. That's correct.
Okay, and as far as the hopelessness, and I don't want you to be hopeless. I don't want, as your mayor, I don't want any more delays. As your mayor, I want results. I'm tired of delays, and I want to get this going. I don't want to see empty pools or injuries to myself or to our residents. I want to see you happy, and I want to see things getting done. And with that, I'd like to move forward. So I would like to, if there's no more discussion, I'd like to see if there's a motion for the approval of item number 12.
Second.
And council members, for your motion and your second, please clarify the direction. I mean, it sounds like you want immediate removal, but we need that clear direction.
I would like immediate removal.
Thank you.
She made the motion, so she would have to declare that.
Amend the motion.
Does
You
this
have to,
clarify,
yeah, you
Councilmember
have to
Martin?
clarify and
Is your
amend your
motion?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? So ordered. And with that, I would like to call item number 14, city managers and executive team reports. I would like to call upon city manager Ray Cruz.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Mayor and council members. Why you don't see me today is that I'm right now attending the International City and County Management Association annual conference in Columbus, Ohio. I'm here learning about various things with my peers throughout the world, literally. Some from the Ukraine, some from Mexico, some from Australia, some from Canada. But we have city managers represented from many countries, and it's great to be together here in Columbus. And I've never been to Columbus. First time I was ever in Ohio was last year, going to Canton for seeing Tom Flores enter into the Hall of Fame. But I'm very impressed with this town and learned a lot about public engagement.
Ray, you're cutting off. I can't hear you.
Ray, we can't hear you.
How about now? Can you hear me now? Hello?
We can hear you now.
I'm sorry. Can you hear? How about now? Is that better?
Yes, we can. Yes,
Okay.
we can hear
Yeah,
you now.
So I was just letting them know what I've learned so far in the areas of public engagement, community mental health, national disaster management, improvements in economic development, broadband planning and development, and priority-based budgeting. So just want to know that's what I've been doing here the last few days, and I fly back tomorrow. At this point, I'd like to introduce our Director of Public Works, Noe Negrete.
Thank you.
It's been a long night. I'll just commit that when I do work out the schedule with West Coast Arborists, I will convey that schedule to yourselves and to the residents. We do have a lot of their emails. We'll send that out as soon as we get that information. Thank you.
Thank you, Noe.
Now I'd like to bring up Wayne Morrell, Director of Planning.
Thank you. And just in case nobody knows who I am, and just for a little laughter after all of this, that's me. No, that's actually me. I'm getting younger as time goes by. Anyway, I have one item real quickly. Next slide, please. Oh, so this is Malia Homes project on Florence Avenue. It's the site of the Latter-day Saints Church. You do remember a while back, this was approved to be developed with 54 townhomes. The church is currently being demolished. They started on Monday in preparation for the townhomes. On the left, you'll see a letter that was sent to all of the residents in the surrounding area, informing them that demolition is to occur. Next slide, please. This is just an aerial view of the church itself with the residential area to the east, and there's some multi-family dwelling to the west. Next slide. Once the notices went out, staff began to receive phone calls asking whether or not construction activity could not occur on Saturday. And just want everyone to know that there isn't anything in our municipal code that would prevent construction activity on a weekend, but there is a provision in the code that says you cannot start work, construction activity before 7 a.m. and after 7 p.m. So they'll abide by that regulation. So in case you get any phone calls, you know that this is occurring and the construction activities are limited. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. Now I'd like to bring up Director of Police Services, Dino Torres.
Well, thank you, Ray. Good evening, council. Next month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, the Department of Police Services will be selling pink Whittier PD patches. And you can get those again at the Police Services Center, and those are $10 a piece. Thank you.
Thank you, Dino. I'd like to bring up Fire Chief Brent Hayward.
Thank you, Ray. Good evening again, everybody. Just a couple of updates on some things that have occurred over the last couple of days, and then something about the engine here at the end. Can I get the first slide, please? If you look on the right, those are 7 of our team members. In the middle is Battalion Chief Mike Kazicki. These individuals were part of a 30-person regional task force that went to Yucaipa the other day. On September 14th at 6 a.m., 7 of our members of Regional Task Force 2 were deployed out to Yucaipa with support vehicles and members from Downey, Glendale, Monterey Park, Monrovia, Pasadena, and West Covina to assist other task forces in search and rescue efforts due to the mudslides that had devastated parts of that area. Next slide. These 30 individuals operated for 3 days amongst several other task force from Santa Barbara, Ventura, and other counties. And they had over 200 structures to search, and the task of finding missing persons, in specific one specific individual that they knew was missing. It turned out that they were the team that discovered the deceased individual. It was only one civilian casualty there on this response. The task force itself is made up of 30 members specializing in technical search, rescue, structure specialists, task force leaders, canine search teams, and they use other specialized training skills and equipment. They returned 3 days later. And that is that for that. If I could get the next slide, just the final reminder. Saturday, September 24th from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. at night at Lake Center Athletic Park. We're having the 2022 Relay for Life. We now have over 30 teams that are committed to this, and this is over double what we've had in the past. And so we look forward to seeing everybody out there this weekend. If you can make it, it's a very positive environment. Again, congratulations to all the departments within the city who did fundraising and fundraising events. Everybody should be proud. Last slide. All right, I'm going to bring a little bit of nice things to the department here at the end. I know I've introduced a new fire engine, but thought you might be interested in how it was physically placed into service and one of the many old fire department traditions that still occur in the United States. This one's been going on since the 1800s. The new Pierce engine 84 was placed into service the morning of September 15th. Members of the department took place in a brief, what I call bonding ceremony. At the suggestion of our members, we had Father Dave Clunk, if you look in the upper left-hand corner, come to bless the new engine and truck 811 at the same time. If you don't recognize him, Dave Clunk actually was the department's former environmental director for the department. After 16 years with us, he had his calling, went to the seminary to become a priest. He's now at St. Hedwig's Catholic Church in Los Alamitos. Father Dave spoke and blessed both the new engine 84 and new truck 811 with holy water. Made a few comments about maybe us needing some help as well, and blessed all of us as well. We got a little wet. Another tradition of transferring water from each of the old apparatus and pouring it into the tanks of the new apparatus occurred, which symbolizes the trucks and the engine's lifeblood and years of service to the community and the department. The final tradition, which you see in the lower left and the lower right, is all the members physically placing into service the engine. And that occurred with the members manually pushing the heavy apparatus backwards into the apparatus bay with all the emergency lights on. This pays tribute to the tradition of the 1800s when horses pulling the heavy steam fire pumps would return from action. The horses and pumper were washed, but the horses could not physically back up the horse-drawn fire pump into the barn. So the horses were unhooked and placed in their stalls, and the firefighters would assemble and push the steam pumper backwards into the barn, thus placing it back into service. This tradition continues and is a common ceremony with many departments when a new apparatus arrives to the department. This gave the department a private moment to reflect, bond, and mark the start of a very good day of fire rescue. I'm also going to apologize, Engine 84. You're not going to be able to see it. It's a little busy right now. So thank you, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Chief. And that's a great tradition. And also thank you for taking the leadership on the Relay for Life. And I am proud of all of our employees and all the departments and all the fundraising they're doing. It's fantastic. Now I'd like to bring up Travis Hickey, Director of Finance.
Thank you, Ray. Last week on Thursday, September 15th, the Human Resources Department held an employee benefits fair. It was the first time after a 3-year break due to the pandemic. The next slide, please. So we had about 100 employees attend the fair. We had our kind of core insurance benefits, Kaiser, Blue Cross, Delta Dental. We had local companies from Santa Fe Springs attend, Planet Fitness, Akeso, ArcPoint. They conducted health screenings, blood pressure checks, flu shots, COVID antibody testing. We also had Jamba Juice on site with their healthy drinks and other snacks. There was also a number of raffle prizes for employees donated by our vendors. So the event was a great success. I'd like to thank the Human Resources staff for putting it all together and appreciate the great turnout by our employees. On this Thursday, our HR staff will also be attending a part-time and seasonal job fair hosted by Cal State Fullerton. And so we have had our challenges in this job market attracting both part-time and full-time. And so we're hopeful that this part-time job fair hosted by the college will be fruitful for us our first time there. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. And now Maricela Balderas, Director of Community Services.
Thank you, Ray. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council, and on the audience. I have a couple of items to share with you this evening. First is on Wednesday, September the 14th, the Teens Program staff, led by Manny Cantu, Isabella Gill, and Andres Reese, put on a workshop for the teens designed to teach them the basics of cars. Staff showed them a hands-on experience on vehicle warning signs, opening the hood of a car, checking tire levels, checking oil and fluid levels, using basic tools like a car jack and using jumper cables. This workshop was designed to prepare our teenagers for their first car ownership as they progress into college. The next teens workshop will be held on September 28th at Town Center Hall, and it will be on self-defense for teens. Next, our city's annual Fiestas Patrias was held on Friday, September the 9th at Los Nietos Park. This was the first year in this event's history that a tropical storm hit Southern California. However, a little rain and wind and malfunction with the sound equipment was no match for the determination and resiliency of our strong community. Staff from both Public Works and Community Services worked tirelessly to try and make the event happen. It was great to see our employees from both departments exhibit great teamwork so that the show could go on and our Santa Fe Springs community could do a little dancing and partying in the rain. In the end, the community enjoyed a great intimate unplugged concert with the bands unlike any other experience we've seen. Our community services team would like to thank the entire community for your patience in the rain. We also want to thank the fire department, Public Works, Police Services, and Whittier PD for their collaborative efforts. And lastly, we want to thank our city council for their unwavering support no matter what challenges we face. Here's a short video recapping the event. Anyway, so anyone that was there, I hope everyone had a good time in spite of the rain. Everybody was dancing with their umbrellas. And then in collaboration with the Alenia Medical Imaging and to kick off Breast Cancer Awareness Month, a free mobile mammography screening is going to be offered on September 30th at the Gus Velasco Neighborhood Center from 9 in the morning till 3:30 p.m. To qualify for the free screening, individuals must be 40 years or older. They should meet income requirements and have no medical insurance. If someone doesn't meet these requirements, there's a number of HMO and PPO insurances that will be accepted. So for more information or to register for the screening, you can call 1-877-4AN-EXAM. And then the last item is our city residents 50 years and older can register for our annual Halloween dance, which is scheduled for October the 28th at the Gus Velasco Neighborhood Center. The tickets are $10 a person, and it includes lunch, entertainment, and a Halloween costume contest. The residents can begin registering now, and our non-residents can register starting October 10th. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcela. And I praise your leadership with Gus for the Fiestas Patrias event. Been doing this for a long time. Haven't seen such cooperation where the council was behind whatever was going to happen and community was waiting to see what's going to happen. And I think they were pleasantly surprised that you guys improvised and everybody had a great time. So congratulations to a great event. And Madam Mayor, that ends our executive team reports. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, moving to item number 15, appointments to boards, committees, and commissions. Councilmember Martin. Councilmember Mora.
None tonight?
Councilmember Sarno.
None tonight.
Mayor Pro Tem Zamora.
None tonight.
And I have none. Thank you. Item number 16, council comments. Councilmember Martin.
I think this is one of the most vocal council meetings we've had in some time. So for the people that did stay on from Maid Zone, thank you so much. We made it happen. Little bumps and bruises, but we made it happen. I just want to clear something up. I know there was a comment in the back row saying that if we approved the business tax, this would have gotten done a lot quicker. The business tax has nothing to do with this. And we need to clear that up. As we're walking out there, we are hearing that this is a business tax issue. This has nothing to do with business tax. Business tax and general fund are two different budgets. So please understand that. Can't wait to see what Maid Zone's going to look like. It's going to be great. Can't wait for that. Fiestas Patrias was great. It was raining, but we made it work. All the bands were great. It was awesome. Sister cities that were here were great. We had dinner with them. Very gracious for them being here. Today, by accident, when I was walking into Starbucks today, the security company from the promenade was having a meeting with all the vendors. I wish we would have known about it. I mean, Dino, I'm not blaming you, Dino, because you didn't know about it, telling us, but it was a good meeting. I just stayed and listened. And the security company is actually stepping it up now at the promenade. A lot of suggestions were made that they need to do something with Octofarm, but being a business, we can't really kick them out. But they did come up with a couple solutions of what they're gonna do. So let's see what happens. Hopefully it changes Octofarm, or we get enough calls on it that when they come up for their business license, we can revoke the license. But hopefully that something happens with it. On that note, I think that's all we have today. So thank you so much.
Could I respond? Can I respond to that? Okay, yeah, sure. So today, it wasn't a city sponsored event. What happened was the security company for the promenade, which is located there on Telegraph in Jersey, they decided to reach out to their tenants and do a meet and greet. And part of that was inviting us to see if we can answer any questions that the tenants may have. And it so happens, Juanita, Councilmember Martin, goes to get her coffee there, I think every morning, and ran into it, like she said. So if it's a city-sponsored event, something that we put together, it's normal. We always invite the council. And so that's why the council didn't know about it. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Mora.
Yeah, I'll try to be quick because we've been here a long time. So thank you for hanging out. Just kudos again to the rec staff and all involved in Fiestas Patrias. It was a great event, even though it rained. The Business Expo, Kathy and your team, incredible. Every year it gets better and better and better. And I'd love to see not only a lot of the businesses out there, but also members of the public. A lot of residents came out, and I think it was just a really, really great event. So can't wait till next year. Wendy and I had the opportunity to visit the grand opening in Downey of the Whole Child. And that was another great addition to Downey. And then also another, Constanza, this lady's just on fire. You know, we're going to have one of our main whole child facilities here in Santa Fe Springs. But this one, you know, it's actively working right now. People that are homeless in cars have a place to come, take a shower, do their laundry, pick up some food. And sometimes if they need housing assistance, a hotel for the night, they're providing that for them. So the Whole Child is an incredible foundation. And, you know, we're so happy that we're being partners with them here in Santa Fe Springs. Fire department, great job on the acquisition of that grant again for the fire truck. You guys are awesome. We need to sit down and learn what you guys do because we got to do something. And I know Laura's not here, but Laura Valenzuela, congratulations to her. Gus is gone, but you know, he continues to Gus, where? Oh, behind the flag. Yeah. You know, Dale Covington's legacy, you know, he loved that Halloween, the haunted house, the whole thing. And I think if he was here, he'd be very, very proud of what you and your team are doing. With all that, have a great night, everybody. And thanks for hanging out.
Thank you. Councilmember Sarno.
Thank you. I don't know if I have any but left, but I'm all right. First, Chief, I just want to say congratulations on your vehicle. It's beautiful apparatus and however it serves us well in the city and everywhere else it goes. To the people from Maidstone, you know, congratulations. This has never been, and I'm sorry if I've ever made it feel that it's personal. It's not personal. The job that we do up here is for 18,000 residents, and that's the way I try to look at things. And I try to take my personal feelings out of it. But maybe it got too personal. So for that, I apologize for making it more personal than what it was. But it was always about policy, never about the trees and about where we are getting the money from. So with that, congratulations. I hope you guys are happy that your trees will be down. You won't have to pick up the pine needles. You won't have to pick up, and your street will look beautiful. So congratulations on that. And to everybody else, just have a good week.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Zamora.
I just want to thank the chief, Hayward. You know, when it comes to his grant writing, even before he was chief, he was actually always a phenomenal grant writer. So it just shows his true efforts and his true work. And it's always something that we've been pushing for grant writing here in Santa Fe Springs to make sure that we can get, you know, capture that extra money, you know, just in general. I mean, it's always a great thing that when we can get free money. Of course, you know, when it comes to the Maidstone, it's long overdue. And I'm pretty sure that hopefully when it's all said and done, you guys are going to be happy with the project overall. And, just the foundation of your guys' homes. I mean, it just makes it real difficult just for you guys as a whole, as a homeowner, just being there, you guys, have to suffer those consequences. And of course, just have that stress on you guys. And I hope, today that, the council did their part to release some of that stress. So, I just want to thank everyone here, my colleagues and everybody else who spoke, whether for or against it, it doesn't matter. As long as we agree or to disagree, in the end, we did what was our due diligence. Also, I do want to highlight an individual, Priscilla Moreno. She's actually an individual who has been doing a lot for Relay for Life, and she has encouraged a lot of our departments to get involved and raise money. Whether it be some of the greatest little silly games of playing bingo, here inside the, to raise money, whether it be Public Works, making sandwiches, pastrami sandwiches, or having things at Frantone's. We have the fire department doing their potato bake. We have Parks and Rec doing like a Dodger. A Dodger gift basket? We had public safety doing this big old basket that actually had a ton of different prizes in it. So we had just different departments doing everything they had to do, and it's just great. Like I said, highlighting Priscilla because she's the one who's actively getting everybody involved. So it's a great thing for a great cause. Remember, cancer has no discrimination on whether your age, your color, your sex, doesn't matter. It's something that's going to attack anybody, and it's something that we all probably know somebody who's either died or is fighting the good fight. So may God always bless those and bless them with their families. And of course, when it comes to our military and armed forces, may God always bless this great nation, and may God always bless the city of Santa Fe Springs. Thank you guys, and have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I just wanted to say too, they've all said it all. I want to say thank you for everybody that's here. The chamber, Kathy, the mentoring luncheon was fantastic today. We had a really good turnout. I'm looking forward to spending time with my two mentees. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to the Relay for Life this Saturday. I just wanted to thank the chief for his grant writing. I do baby grant writes for the scholarships for the Women's Club, so I could imagine your big grant. So thank you so much. And also, I just want to say the promenade. Wayne, I want to thank you. Wayne and I took a tour and spoke to the owner a couple of weeks ago about the conditions of the promenade. And, sometimes the owner wasn't too happy with me, but I told him, please don't take it personal. Look around you. This is what we want. Our residents want a nice staple in the community that they can be proud of. So we went out there, we told him what we wanted, we told him what we don't want. And a couple hours later, Wayne gave me pictures of them doing washing of the sidewalks. They're going to do painting. The owner wants to do change. Change is inevitable. Some people don't want to do change, but that needs to be changed into a more positive look. We need to be proud of that staple in our community. So we took the time to go over there. Wayne gave me the maintenance phone numbers so that if we see any wrongdoing or we see that it smells like urine or it's dirty, that we can personally, all of our council, if you desire, you can call them and you can make a difference and tell them, hey, let's clean this up because this is our community and our residents deserve the best. Our residents come first. And so I wanted to also say that the Maidstone, congratulations, long overdue. This is a lot of hard work. And I told Maidstone, it can't just be one person. It has to be there's power in numbers. And if you need something and you know that it's the right thing to do, then you fight for it and get what you need because it was dangerous there. There's injuries there. I myself fell on Maidstone just trying to answer my phone. And there's a lot of people that have had injuries. I don't want to see empty pools and people that are hopeless. I want to see people that are inspired to get up in the morning and say, you know what, I'm proud of my property. I'm proud to live in Santa Fe Springs. So, and I just want to thank you because, these residents have passion and they make us work hard and they also worked hard. You don't have to do that, but you care about your community. And that's something to be proud of. I wanted to say, it's campaign time. People are going to come here and say things. I just wanted to tell you that a question is not harassment. It was just a question. And that's all I got to say. I want to, I would like to adjourn the meeting with blessings and have a nice evening. Thank you.